In the forefront of the crisis in the Middle East is the Palestinian issue, and what we see lately from serious Egyptian efforts to break the deadlock in the peace process. It's a sincere effort to make everyone face their responsibilities and warn of the consequences of delays in achieving peace.
Two uprisings have kept Egypt preoccupied in the past 5 years. But now the Egyptian president is seeking to bring peace to the oldest conflict in the region. Intensive talks were held with Palestinians and Israelis in Cairo and Tel Aviv. Egypt issued its own initiative for a two-state solution. It complements the French initiative accepted by Palestinians in 4 main points. First, the immediate resumption of talks in the presence of international mediators. Israel wants bilateral talks with Palestinians without mediation. Second, to place a deadline for talks to achieve results, something Israel refuses. Third, a peace process to be based on the 1967 borders between both states. And last, Jerusalem to be the capital of Palestine or a joint capital for both states. Experts say Egypt is pulling its strings on both sides to bring them together.
We have the Rafah border crossing to use as leverage on Hamas. We control the Rafah border crossing and can put pressure on Hamas because it's the one that's blocking reconciliation efforts. As for Israel, it needs Egypt in the fight against terrorism, and this is our strong pressure point as Israel is threatened by terrorism in the region.
El-Sisi says failing to achieve peace could have dire results. However, some experts don't expect a breakthrough anytime soon.
Not now, not even in the near future. Maybe in the long term if Israel shows flexibility and is ready to compromise in negotiations. But now the situation is very hard.
Experts say a delay is also expected because the international community is giving priority to the war on terrorism and solving the crises in Libya, Iraq and Syria. Yes, Hakim for CCTV, Cairo.
Well, Libya is likely to feature prominently during that meeting of the Arab League in Cairo. Let's get you an update on that. I'm joined live from the Egyptian capital by CCTV's Adel Al-Marouki. Adel, first off, what's the latest coming out of Sirte? Of course, we know that fighting has been going on for months now. Where are we as far as progress is concerned?
Well, there isn't a solid statistics about how valuable the progress is, but according to all news sources and officials from both the Eastern and the Western, or the Government of National Accord from Libya, they all confirm that there is a progress going on, that they are taking steps forward to reach the center of Sirte. But the battle, as you said, still continues. Maybe a day or 2 days ago, within that region, about a day and a half exactly, the allies and the militias that support the Government of National Accord have confirmed that they have acquired one of the bomb factories that belong to ISIS. And in that regard, they have sent videos of the explosive materials, and the factory that was going on there was mobile devices and the process through which ISIL basically manufactures and put these bombs into action. But when you take a look at the location of that bomb factory, it's in the southeast of Sirte. So still we're talking about fighting that is happening on the borders of Sirte itself. There hasn't been any progress to penetrate inside the base for this organization in Libya itself. But to both governments in the East and the West, basically penetrating and having an end in favor of these, the National Libyan Army will be a strong hit to ISIL, because basically while it suffers from also some retreatment from its territories in Iraq and Syria, if their mission succeeds in Libya, then definitely it will be one of the strongest hit for this organization.
And now, Adel, just for a moment, let's have a look at that Arab League meeting, which of course is taking place in Mauritania, not Cairo. But we understand that Egyptian President al-Sisi is not at the meeting. What can you tell us about that?
Well, basically, there have been some information that the Egyptian presidency receives from the intelligence bureaus confirming that there would have been an assassination attempt on President al-Sisi while his presence in Nouakchott for the Arab Summit. Now, until a day ago, the official status for Egypt was to confirm the presence of the head of state in the Arab Summit, the Summit of Hope, as they call it, as the challenges of the Arab world rises. I've contacted a source within the intelligence bureau who confirmed these reports and says that in fact they had information that the president's life was in jeopardy, and therefore it was preferable for him to assign Prime Minister Sharif Ismail to go for the summit in Nouakchott and take over the Egyptian negotiations and the talks that will happen there with about few Arab leaders. We're talking about around 7 leaders have confirmed their presence so far.
Well, of course, as you say, that I mean, with the potential attack on the president's life, it certainly does highlight the challenges being faced in the Arab world. Just run us through some of the other points on the agenda of that all-important meeting.
Well, there is a general effort from the Arab world to put the Palestinian conflict back to the spotlight, to make it, as all Arab leaders say, the primary conflict for the Arab world. So that's what this summit shall be about, to push forward for the peace talks, to adopt Egypt's efforts along with France's initiative and try to reach sort of an agreement from all Arab sides to push the Palestinian factions together first, and then that will help in having talks between the Palestinians and the Israeli. But of course, terrorism cannot be disregarded as the escalation and the threat spreads across the region from Libya, that affects the center of the Arab world in North Africa, to Iraq, Syria, and Yemen now, with the crises spreading along the conflicts between the factions in these countries. It has always been, from what we've seen in the past years, a very lucrative opportunity for terrorist organizations to expand using these conflicts. So how to fight terrorism will be one of the main factors, along with reviving the idea of joint Arab forces. Back last year in Sharm el-Sheikh, when the summit was held, Arab leaders have agreed to form joint Arab forces, but it has never seen the light, so they will be investigating that too. That will be mainly the League's arm to fight terrorism in the region. Besides that, there are the usual focuses of economic cooperation and enabling or empowering the Arab League to take more action instead of having just advisory or non-binding resolutions.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for that update, Adel Al-Marouki, live for us there in Cairo.